Jack Thunder and the Fragments of Anima. Book 4. Earth. Chapter 2. Season's Greetings. Son shook his head to clear it. At least he tried to land on his feet this time. Since he'd joined Jack Thunder on his journey, he'd been traveling by rainbow a lot more often than he ever had. Sliding down rainbows was the easy part. Landing was quite another story. This time, he landed on his left side. Thankfully, he wasn't hurt. He brushed himself off. Why can't he just use a cloud like a normal person? Shadowpaws hadn't fared much better. For a cat, his landing wasn't all that graceful. He had landed smack on his face, just like Son did the first time. Razor landed right on top of him. He got to his feet and stood up, embarrassed but thankfully unhurt. Evening had fallen in the Emerald Woodland. The sky bled a crystalline red, while glittering snow blanketed the ground. Twisting, black, leafless trees obscured their view. Winter had conquered the once verdant forest. The crew made their way through the forest. Jack Thunder, pulled by Stormbringer, trudged through the depths of the snow. Despite his difficulty walking and the bitter, biting cold, he felt warm inside. December had to be one of his favorite months of the year, aside from April. While Tempest Island's village didn't have any big traditions for the solstice, he could always count on the lands he visited when he went down to the surface to host extravagant celebrations where everyone was invited. Yggdrasil's Grove was no exception. The dryads, wood elves, pixies, and forest sprites that made their homes there always decorated the entire town in white and blue lights that could be seen even from Tempest Island. He'd even seen the Elder Goat visit the grove a couple of times. He and Frosty didn't have much, but he could always count on the Elder Goat to make his winter solstice wishes come true. Jack Thunder began to hum a familiar tune. Son and Shadowpaws immediately recognized it. It was a traditional winter solstice carol sung throughout the many nations of Alterus. As time went on, Jack Thunder's humming became louder and louder until he started singing. The abominable snowman was a fierce and mighty beast, and with his wood-gnarled horns and his saber teeth he would make you into a feast. Soon, everyone in the group was singing a song about the abominable snowman who came to town. When they were done, they sang about Helios the Pegacorn guiding the Elder Goat along his way. And when they finished that song, they sang about all the presents they received on the 12 days of the solstice. Even Buckthorn, who had never heard these songs before, joined in. All of a sudden, a voice called out to them from the shadows. They stopped singing as soon as they heard it. "Hello there. Didn't expect to see you again." Jack Thunder paused. That voice was oddly familiar. It was a voice he'd heard only a few months ago. "Skilla? Is that you?" Right on cue, the forest dragon emerged from the shadows. She was still wearing the same ruby earrings she wore on the day she helped Jack Thunder quell the storm he'd created. But there was another familiar face next to her, too. One fairy snail with a pink shell and light blue eyes. "Snotter?" The snail nodded. She had changed a lot since he'd last seen her. When he first met her, she was a grouchy little snail in a gray turtleneck who only wanted to tend to her mushroom garden in peace. Now she was almost unrecognizable. She had grown out the tendrils on her head to the point where they looked like dreadlocks. She tied them back with a headband the same color as her shell, and instead of her gray turtleneck, she wore armor made from tree bark, the uniform of Yggdrasil's personal guard. She smiled awkwardly. "Hey Jack, how's it been going for ya? Haven't seen you in a while." "It's been busy. Looks like you've been up to a lot too." Skilla answered for her. I've been coaching Snotter here for her guardian training. She's training to become one of Yggdrasil's personal guardians. Snotter nodded. Been real busy. I'm supposed to have a week off for the winter solstice, but I just can't seem to sit down. Jack Thunder smiled. Tell me about it. When San here was training me to wield Stormbringer, I couldn't wait to defeat my first Wendigo. I think I gave him a heart attack, actually. Jack Thunder chuckled uneasily. Snotter jumped. That's actually San? The air champion? San nodded. Yes. I trained him to use Stormbringer just as Scylla is teaching you. It's kind of a long story, Jack Thunder explained. Scylla smiled. Well, you don't have to tell it all right now. It's getting late. Yggdrasil's grove is not far from here. If I take you there, I'm sure she would be more than happy to have you stay. The wind might have been as cold as the Razor Frost Range itself, but the 7 of them hardly felt it through the warmth of their conversation. They bantered back and forth all the way there, catching up on what had happened since they'd last seen each other. Snotter had moved into Yggdrasil's grove not long after she'd sold her former boulder home. The last time she saw it, she explained, the new owner had converted her mushroom garden into a place to put his shed. Really? I'm so sorry. Snotter brushed the storm gremlin off. Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter to me nearly as much now. Sad as I was to see it go, it was kind of a blessing in disguise. If I hadn't sold my house, I would have never met Scylla, and I'd probably still be rotting away in that place. Jack Thunder swore he could still hear a hint of sadness in her voice. Oh look, here we are. The forest in front of them was decked out in lights of icy blue and snowy white. They flashed and pulsed softly as Jack Thunder surveyed his surroundings. To an outsider, it would have simply looked like another, most unusual part of the forest. Looking closer, however, one could see lights coming from windows carved out of the bloated trunks of the trees that surrounded them. The residents of this village had no need for buildings of stone or wood. Their homes were carved out of the trees themselves, and the heroes were standing on one of the village's many uneven, unpaved paths. Scylla motioned for them to follow her with her head. Jack Thunder glanced into the windows as he passed them by. He saw all kinds of scenes. 2 wood sprites sharing a meal together, dryads curled around a book by the fire, even a wild party of all kinds of fairies in one of the bigger tree houses. He marveled at how they all stayed warm despite the bitter cold outside. Maybe that was just one of Anima's secrets. All right, we're here. Jack Thunder looked up. They were at the base of Yggdrasil. The ancient dryad's tree branches bore lights of all colors, and in front of them was an opening leading into her trunk. Come on, I know she'll let you stay when I tell her you're here. Snotter encouraged the team inside. None of them saw the dryad with the green apples on his branches peering at them from behind one of the trees. His eyes glowed white as he stared. Hi there, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you would like more from our friend Jack Thunder, you can check out my new book series, Jack Thunder and the Fragments of Anima, on Amazon using the link in the description. Or you can head on over to my Teespring and grab a few things from my shop. And please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content every week. Thank you for watching.